Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the Absolute Football WSL and WSL2. It's such a mouthful to say that, isn't it? But hey ho. As eagle-eyed viewers may have already noticed, I'm not Freya. Freya is away on holiday. I hope you're having a wonderful time, mate. I am Ant, and thank you so much, everyone, for watching us tonight. It is a little bit of a somber podcast, as we will get into a little bit later. But as obviously I cannot do this on my own, nor would I want to. I am joined by Danny. Danny, how's it going, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. All good. Yeah, hello everyone in the chat. Good to see everyone in there already. But yeah, doing good, thank you.
Oh, and we also have the staple of Wednesday nights. It's Mr. Paul. Paul, how's it going, buddy?
I'm genuinely flattered by that. It's going a lot better after that. It was like not that it was going badly before, to be clear, but that was lovely, and it's lovely to see you all, and obviously chat about football once again.
Yeah, we've got a few already in the chat. I think Mark's story was here before me. Evening, Mark. How you doing, mate? I'm just calling you Tony Montana from that one because it gets Uncle Montana, Tony Moussard, and I'm just seeing the Simpsons there. So Tony Montana, there we go. Good evening, anyway. Good evening to Simon. Evening, gang. RIP, Matt B. Yeah, we'll get into that a lot deeper later on. But yeah, what a horrible weekend it's been. It's just football's become second to everything, I think. RIP, Beatty. Yeah, totally right. And yeah, we're going to get into that a little bit later on. We've got a little tribute later on, and obviously myself, Paul, and Danny do obviously want to say a few words about it. But we'll start off with the WSL, the Women's Super League, and it started off on Friday night. We'll kind of just go over each game briefly, and then we've got obviously a couple of games I'm going to go into in detail. But the first win in the WSL for London City Lionesses, and funnily enough, guys, it was the amount of money that they've spent on players coming in, record transfers and everything like that. It was a player who they signed in the Championship, Izzy Goodwin, who got them the win over Everton, and that's 2 defeats in a row now with Goodison for Everton. So first of all, like what we're thinking about London and what we're thinking about Everton and Goodison, a little bit of a struggle, a little bit of a teething issues at Goodison Park, really.
I do wonder with this as well, because obviously Chloe's gone to both games. She's been giving us the updates and stuff. I do wonder whether it is teams starting to raise their games a little bit against Everton, playing at Goodison Park. So it's almost having the opposite effect to what they want it to have at the moment, because there's so much incredible stuff going on around Goodison Park for the women's team, and to make that home their own. Some of the pictures we've seen have been incredible. But you do wonder if the teams are coming there now and going, actually, we're going to step up a bit here. And this is really inspiring us to come on, because you look at Everton, they're a good side, they're a good squad, they've made some good signings, obviously got our favourite manager in the league in charge, in Bry. So everything looks set up for them to be the big team that kind of push on a little bit. But the last couple of games, we've seen teams go there, and we don't really want to see London City going there and doing that, do we? But like you said, it was for it to be Isabel Goodwin. We know what she can do. We've been talking about her all like for the last couple of years in the Championship, or WSL2, whatever we're going to call it. She's a ready-made WSL striker, I'd argue. She's going to score quite a lot of goals, I think, this season. And she took her goals in true Izzy style at the weekend. Quality.
Yeah, she took them well, didn't she? She is a proper good striker, Paul, isn't she? Like I've seen her a few years now. Obviously, she was Sheffield before she got that big move and everything. And she just got it's just a height as well that kind of puts a lot of defenders off. But she's up there, and kind of. Is she going to be getting into the England squad in years to come? I honestly can't think of a reason why not. I think she's got everything.
I mean, yeah, I was watching, obviously, because we were watching the men at the weekend, and Erling Haaland was doing Erling Haaland things. And I've said this a few times. You don't want to compare men's and women's players and stuff, but Izzy Goodwin has that same combination of strength and speed and technique in the women's game, possibly a little bit rawer than Haaland does. And obviously it's a slightly different, challenges in the women's game. But just when she does those runs into the channels, and when she finds space, and when she sets off with the ball, and the long legs of hers start going, and she starts outpacing defenders, you start thinking, yeah, she is a unique physical specimen. And if this how she is at 21, 22, with a few years experience, when she hones that and gets a year in the WSL, she's going to be terrifying, because there's no other striker like her in the league.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess you compare it to Haaland, and it's kind of the same dynamic, isn't it? Like, she can finish, she holds the ball up well, but she also, defensively, defensive work's unbelievable as well. Yeah, I'm chuffed for her. I know, like, she's obviously gone to London, and what we think of London's another topic whatsoever. But I'm just chuffed that she's made the transition. But obviously on Everton as well, Danny, like we say, 2 defeats in 2, as Uncle Montana puts on it. Yeah, Everton have serious teething issues with their squad. It doesn't help that every goal they've conceded is due to some assignment of theirs, and it's hard not to disagree with that great win over Liverpool at the start of the season, and then since then that's 2 defeats in a row. Are you worried already if you're an Everton fan?
Possibly a little bit. I think obviously winning the derby away from home gives you a bit of leeway, doesn't it, for a while? But
you called away from home was across the road.
yeah, that's true. But to go to Anfield and do that, it will give you a bit of leeway. We know what Brian's like. We know he's going to bounce back from it. He's got like the likes of Vignola coming in. Her performance the opening day, she's got such quality about her. Not done very well for my fantasy team since. I put her on the bench for the first week. She scored a hat-trick. I brought her back in. She's done hardly anything. But that's another story. But I thought Mamiki looked good when she came on. Obviously got the goal from the penalty. I thought she turned it in their favour a little bit. And it did look like towards the end of the game that they might get something, willing them on to go and get that equaliser, but they didn't quite get it. But no, I'm not massively worried about Everton just yet. I don't think. I think they've got time to bounce back. They've got I can't remember who they've got this weekend. So it's Brighton away, so that's a tough one for them. But again, being away from home might not be the worst thing for them at the minute, just to get away from that maybe expectation at Goodison to go and really kick on.
Yeah, and to be fair, it's one where the underdog as well, aren't they? So they might strive for that. Where the hell's that gone? That's not good. We've lost graphics already, so I'll quickly message Sam. But while we were on there, it wasn't even me either. You know what I mean? Something always goes wrong when I host. Nothing literally happened there. I never even touched anything. But I will give him a quick text and tell him.
Give IT a quick call.
Yeah, IT.
It's probably a good thing not to mention, because obviously the Sub Cup is taking place at the moment.
Oh yes,
and so we'll get all the jokes out of the way about that one. But it's not going very well for Sunderland at the moment against Liverpool. Liverpool have actually decided to turn up and play. Interestingly,
yeah. Do you know what? Like, obviously with everything that's gone over the weekend, I was fully expecting this to happen, and we haven't put a full side out. And again, it's no excuses or anything like that, but we haven't. We've got Nia Dunbar playing, who's a PGA player. We've got like a couple on the bench. She's made a fair few changes, but I was fully expecting a reaction from Liverpool anyway tonight. Considering, like I say, what's just happened. It's 5-0. I don't care about the Subway Cup, or the Conti Cup. It just, anyone who listens to me on a Monday night for How We Are the Lasses will know that. I mean, I could have gone tonight. I chose not to. It just doesn't bother us at all. So, good for Liverpool getting 5 goals, but yeah, it's not for me. It's not for me. Are there any surprise results? I bet there isn't.
No, I don't think so, really. I mean, you can get tied up thinking about it, couldn't you? But
sorry, Tony. Not talking over you then.
Sorry,
Palace are holding London City.
They took the lead in that one, didn't they?
And
is that a surprise, though? Is that a surprise with Palace going down London, going up? Is it? I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, looking at the London City team, it's not a rotated team. Like they might claim it's rotated because Lucia Corrales isn't playing and Nikita Paris isn't playing, and Elena Linares are playing, but Linares has been sat on the bench for some of the actual games. Of the actual games, league games and stuff. It is a pretty strong London City team, although Izzy Goodwin isn't even in the squad, which is interesting.
No.
So that says something about the size of their squad. Where you look at Crystal Palace, and Crystal Palace have very clearly rotated a little. Like they are playing most of their strongest team, but there are a few players like Ruja Littlejohn isn't in there. India Page Riley isn't in there. Molly Sharp isn't in there. Alison Swaby isn't in there. They're playing their backup goalie, if you like. So again, I look at it and go, I don't think London City will be too happy. And then you look at Charlton, West Ham thumping Charlton, but West Ham have rotated a fair bit, and so have Charlton. So the trouble with the League Cup is you just, like you say, we can look at all these results and go, oh, Leicester are beating Ipswich 3-1, that kind of thing, or Birmingham City and Bristol City are drawing, Spurs and Villa are drawing. But then you look at the Shannon O'Brien scoring for Leicester, by the way, up Coventry. But you look at it all and go, these are all rotated teams, so this is not really showing anything.
For anyone who does actually care, I've got the results up. Say that mostly results. Most of them are now in the last echelons, apart from Newcastle have just kicked off their second half. They're 0-0 at Forest. City winning 3-1 at Everton. Durham 1-1 with Sheffield United. So 10-2. Penalties unless Durham do what Durham do and normally scoring at a time. Liverpool 5 Sunderland 0. West Ham are beating Charlton 5-1 at. Will that be at the Valley, won't it?
I think it is at the Valley. Yeah.
That's a bit of a hammering, but again, Portsmouth 0, Brighton 2, Palace 1, London 1, as Paul's mentioned. Ipswich 1, Leicester 3, Birmingham 2-2 with Bristol City, Spurs 0-0 with Villa. Yeah, it's just there's nothing there, is there? It's just as you expect, bar maybe one or two. Yeah, but we've got the graphics back. Thank you very much, Sam. So that's good. Because our next game is what Danny wanted to talk about, and it's Tottenham Hotspur 1, Man City 5. So the floor is yours, my friend.
Yeah, another Friday night treat. I'm quite enjoying these Friday night games, actually, to be honest.
I've very enjoyed our Friday night. I must admit, we'll get a lot later.
But City had never lost at Brisbane Road, had they, to Spurs? And spoiler alert, they didn't here, as you can tell. They had Grace Clinton on the bench for City. I think that was the first time that she's been back. And Spurs, before this game, they were coming into it with quite a strong defensive record. I think the commentators were talking quite a lot about the first couple of games and not conceding and being really strong defensively. So you could kind of tell where it was going. And I don't know if any of you saw it, but Lee's Kopp in the Tottenham goal, she was doing her best in the first 10 minutes to give the ball away to City's press. She did it about 3 or 4 times in the first 10 minutes, and you just thought they're in for a hiding here because A, the commentators cursed it, but B, they're playing out from the back and City are just going to catch them. Lauren Hemp did go off injured. We don't know, I don't think, how bad the injury is at the moment. I think she was in a boot, wasn't she, tonight, but not crutches apparently, so hopefully it's not quite as bad as it looks, but it looked pretty bad from when she came off. But Carolyn came on and basically tore it up on Friday night, so she just came on and took over and gave them a little bit of a different threat. She was a lot more direct, as I think City were generally a lot more direct than they were last season, which is not necessarily a bad thing because they're getting a lot of joy out of it. Alba Ficino with the first goal. Nice little 1-2 with Bunny Shaw. Lovely move, lovely strike for the first one. Miedemar with a header from the second. Snuck over the line. Kirsten Kashbrai got the third. Again, from Carolyn down the left-hand side, she had a shot deflected and Kashbrai just kind of snuck in and headed it in. Bunny Shaw, at this point, she was trying her best to get into the goals. She was trying her best to get into it. She got that assist. You might be able to tell that she was my fantasy captain, by the way. I've talked about this, but she was getting frustrated time and again in front of goal. They got the penalty for Gino with a bit of pace. Claire Hunt just completely clattered her. Viv picked the ball up. I thought she was going to take it. She hands it to Bunny. I thought, here we go. This is the chance. Get your goal. Get in there. Has it saved? So it just wasn't a good night.
Did you lose points for that then?
I think I did, yeah. Because I got some points for the assist, and then I just lost them again because she missed the penalty. So it was a good save, to be fair, but a really frustrating night for Bunny and for me. But of course, Grace Clinton came on and scored against Spurs because that's what was always going to happen. Very Grace Clinton goal that she got there. Carolyn again with the assist down the left-hand side. Martin Ho, by the way, during all this, he was getting more and more angry as the game went on. He was throwing things. I think a bottle got thrust in the air. He was not happy at all the more the game went on. But they did get a Thundy B. Olivia Holt with a Thundy B, the goal of the game. Typical Thundy B. What would you call it? If you looked it up in a dictionary, if you looked up Thundy B, this is it. Outside the area, into the net, back out the net, back past the 6-yard line. And I was off my seat. I was shouting, Thundy B. What a goal it was. Didn't quite mean a lot, but there we go. Lovely stuff from Olivia Holt. And then Clinton had a shot blocked and Laura Coombs followed it up for 5-1. So a comprehensive win for City, and they needed it, really. They needed to get back to winning ways and really start to put a marker down on the season. They needed goals. They got it. It was a perfect night for them. Ahead of everyone else playing at the weekend. They just looked very, very good. City, they've got less of a possession game now, and they are playing it a little bit more direct. But with the players they've got, that's exactly what they need, I think. And yeah, exactly. He had a really concerned facial expression, perfectly put. But for City, that's a cracking win to go there and do that. And again, to haunt Spurs on their own patch.
Our kind of Sky Sports News reporter, Spenny Cressy. In fact, he's quicker than Sky Sports News. So they're all times. Yeah, it's pretty much what I said before. That we're looking into penalties. We are going into penalties. Durham normally have quite a good penalty record, so I'd imagine they'll win that.
Are they going to put Sheffield United going to put Charlotte Newsham in goal, do we reckon?
Well, they've just signed someone, haven't they, on an emergency loan? I've just got someone on an emergency loan for a week.
For a week, yeah.
Katie Keane from Leicester, isn't it?
Yeah, that's mental. But obviously they have some issue down there, bless them.
That's basically work experience, isn't it?
Yeah. Didn't someone sign Kiara Keaton on an emergency loan for about 2 weeks? Was that Coventry?
That was a Coventry, and it was initially an emergency loan for 2. No, Kiara Keaton was signed for the rest of the season, and then she got injured, and then we had a rotating cast for about 4 goalies in about 4 weeks, because we had Sophia Middleton Patel and Demi Lambourne and Mia Smith and Poppy Soper possibly at one point. I just lost track. I was like, right, here's a goal. I was fully expecting, if I put, they talk all these jokes about people. If I put a blonde wig on at one point, they were so far down the bet that if I put a blonde wig on, I could have played a goal. Because they were genuinely that desperate looking for goals.
Had a shave and all that, but you could have used your hair.
Had a shave as well.
Yeah, I mean, Matthew's put it. I think caught this Spurs best player so far this season. She saved a pen against Bunny Shaw and had a good performance in the first 2 games. Fair enough. She did concede 5, but I know what you mean. Because it's difficult, isn't it?
She's an interesting signing though, because she was Leicester's backup last season behind Leipzig. So it's an interesting one. That
it might be the way that Spurs want to play. Maybe that's the kind of signing, potentially playing out from the back. But like I said, it did get a bit dicky there for the first 10 minutes. And I was like, stop it, stop it! But it's not working. You're gonna get caught. I mean,
you can't do it. Don't. You know what I mean?
This is the thing that annoys me. It annoys me in men's football. It annoys me in women's football. The tiki-taka play out from the back. Bollocks that everyone.
Pep Guardiola, one person to blame. Pep Guardiola. Everyone thinks the footballers now. I just want my goalkeeper to be a good goalkeeper. I don't care how many good.
Get it out there, big man, little man.
Put your bloody foot through it.
Out loud. Get it forwards.
That's what you sign That's what midfielders are for. Like you thump it up into the centre circle and let them win it and get on with it from there, rather than the play it out from the front stuff.
Oh, we have goal updates. Newcastle were 1-0 up, but as per usual, couldn't hold on to a lead. And now Nottingham scored. So well done, Nottingham. I'm going to try and find the goal scorers there, because I know that. Well, Beth Lumsden scored for Newcastle, but then Amy Clearball, the legend that is Amy Clearball, gets the equaliser for Forest.
She is massively, massively underrated. Beth Lumsden is for Newcastle.
She is.
All these star strikers, but Lumsden, they got from Oxford for know, third tier, and she's massively underrated.
And one about the goalkeeping thing. The amount of times I was yelling at my screen during the Chelsea-Leicester game about that shit. Shall we talk about Chelsea then, whilst we've got that comment on? Do you want to talk about Chelsea?
Oh, I will talk about Chelsea because I just want to ask. I wonder whether we'd have Chloe or Rosie on, because I just want to ask Chelsea fan base. Are we past 9 o'clock yet? No. Okay. Are
Nearly.
you okay? Like, seriously, are you effing okay? Because the amount of shite on Twitter afterwards about sacking Sonia Bob Pasta, because, like, genuinely, like, give me a few seconds, because Nessie, who is often in the group chat, she's not in there tonight because I think she's away watching London City, as I mentioned. But she sent a message to me just saying, Paul, you've got to see this thread, with a quote tweet. And I kind of looked at it and went, okay, fair enough. You know, what's this? And it's batshit. Like, it's absolute brain fart, brainworms stuff. So she sent me a tweet, and it was basically one of Chelsea Twitter's bigger fan accounts, who has several thousand followers, saying, we have to sack our manager. So firstly, you what? and then the replies that follow this are like, we don't have an identity in your Sonia. She is why we lost 8-2 against Barcelona, and I won't be surprised if they repeat it. We play shit, boring football. We have 4 or 5 wingers, but our coach chooses to not use it. We really have to if we still want to like our Chelsea, because this was crap. And just struggling against Leicester multiple times. No good manager does that.
There you go. Like, our fan base is currently torn between Sonia and the football we are playing right now. But at the end of the day, though, again, it might not be pretty, but the winning games, she hasn't lost in the league yet, has she?
No, it's 3 out of 3, yeah.
Like,
did they lose last year?
No, unbeaten. No.
So she's unbeaten in the WSL. And she's beaten a year and a half. Yeah, sucker.
Like, horrible style of football, just relying on players' individual quality and the squad quality. Yeah, that's kind of how football works. Like,
squad quality. Don't go relying on that squad quality. You've cried out loud.
Don't go relying on a team full of good players. Jesus Christ.
Oh my word! It's mad. It's mad, isn't it?
3 wins, an average of 2 goals a game, and they're sat there going, honestly, it's like poking a fork in your eye watching Chelsea. I'll be surprised if we even make the semis of the UWCL.
But that's what they want now, isn't it? It's like what it's always like what City were like on it back in the day, and City would just want to win the Champions League all the time. The league didn't matter, and then with like Liverpool, the league did matter. There we are. As for me, I'm not enjoying the football, mum, but I cannot complain as we were unbeaten, thanks to United and Arsenal, we're top of the league. Well, we will get into that. Well, we won't actually, because it finished 0-0, and on this podcast we don't talk about 0-0s. And I'm fully aware that we got a lot of stick last week about not mentioning United too much. We're not getting mentioned at all tonight because it fucking finished 0-0. And it is after 9 o'clock.
I was gonna have a long rant about how Arsenal, for them,
if you're going to rant now, let's get it over and done with.
Yeah, let's get over and done with. Arsenal, for them, weren't very good. Okay, so there we go. And Arsenal did not perform to the level you'd expect. But Man United were playing for a fucking draw at home against Arsenal, playing without a bloody striker, because Melvie Millard is not a number 9. She's a winger. Whatever Man United fans say. And Chelsea fans, look at me. Look, Chelsea fans, you could have Mark Skinner as manager. Stop bloody complaining about the style of football. Know when you're onto a good thing. For the love of God. And there we go.
I am enjoying how Katie Reid stepped up this season. She played really well again.
She's a player.
I thought she was excellent again Sunday.
The one thing I'm a little bit kind of confused about with the United one, they had a really good result during the week in the Champions League. Liz Turner getting hat-trick, and then literally it was anti-football, wasn't it, on Saturday? It just was not good at all. And he'd be over the moon or Skinner. He actually was, wasn't he? Afterwards, he was like, "It's a great result, this, that, and the other." But
I mean,
I don't know.
Our was there, and she said, "And we've got to pay tribute. We've got to pay tribute to Skinner and say nice things." So clip this, Sam. Get ready. Paul saying nice things about Mark Skinner. Apparently, his tribute to Matt Beard and his reaction to that, and the way he spoke to people there who might have known Matt and spoke about Matt was very impressive indeed. So
he was, yeah.
Clearly as a man, Skinner is, and this is what makes it almost weirder, because you get these flashes from Mark Skinner of he's clearly a decent, empathetic human being. He's clearly aware of tactics. He's clear of management. And then you see how he treats his players. And then you see the reaction of how players talk about him. Like, in the nicest possible way, if players were being asked to pay tribute to Mark Skinner, I don't think you'd have had anywhere near the level of outpouring of genuine warmth for someone like Matt Beard. It would have been all very much, he was a good manager and he worked hard and, he was successful. But you wouldn't have had just the genuine, the personal stories or the warmth or anything else from the combination of football as a whole. And it's just, why? Like Tony says, Arsenal lost that game even though it was a draw. And when you watched it, Man United were there for the taking. I mean, BBC Two showed that. The BBC showed that. And at the end of it, they're going to be sat there going, Jesus Christ, if this is the product that we're getting to showcase.
Yeah, it wasn't one of those where it was a prime time television slot, wasn't it? It's not one of the ones where you think that's a great advertisement for WSL, was it, or for the women's game? They could have easily just you watched the Everton game against Everton London game, which was a good game, and then you got that. But
I think all of the games, like all the games on Sunday, whether it's WSL or WSL2, I think after what happened, they have to come with a massive caveat because there's so many players would have been impacted by the news that they just heard. I don't put massive stock in performances or results and that after that news, because you don't know what's going through people's heads. Like, people are going to be affected in so many different ways, aren't they? So
definitely.
With Arsenal in particular, they had Olivia Smith and Taylor Hines, didn't they?
Yeah.
And they made a big thing of they gave both of those players the options not to play, and they said Matt would have wanted us to.
Yeah.
So,
but we'll give both sides a benefit of the doubt. But like I say, we very rarely mention 0-0s on this podcast, so we have to stick to tradition, guys. I'm afraid. The other result is Brighton 4, West Ham 1, and good result for Brighton. West Ham, I think West Ham are going to be one of the ones who struggle this season, might be one of the ones who get relegated, but Brighton start the season okay, haven't they?
Yeah, I think was it 1 win, 1 draw, 1 defeat for Brighton. But I thought some of the West Ham's defending was atrocious on Sunday against them. But having said that, you've still got to take the chances, haven't you? And you're willing Brighton to go and be that team that are disrupting the top 3, top 4. You really want them to kick on because of the type of players they've got in their side. Such quality. We love Fran Kirby. She had another good game as well. Kafaji's coming in now. She's starting to start games and she's really having a major impact on it. Michelle Agyemang just needs a goal because she had one, didn't she? She had a chance that she had right in front of goal that she missed the header, and then the follow-up shot was straight against the keeper. It'll come.
She in your fan team, Danny? Is that why she had a back?
I took her out, to be fair. But no, she does need a goal. And I think Brighton have really hit the groove with this one. I think West Ham are going to struggle, but Brighton have got every chance of really kicking on and becoming that team that we all want them to be. Like, I really like them. They've got Everton this weekend, like we said earlier, another good chance at home to go and get another win. And you can see them launching up the table a bit, but yeah, really enjoying them, enjoying watching them at the minute.
I just said before that Durham were really, really good on penalty shootouts. That shows that literally good show. I know nothing. Sheffield United won 3-0. So there we are. But a good result for Sheffield, to be fair, and they're having a little bit of joy against North East lately. So played against Newcastle obviously last week, got a good draw, beat Durham there.
They played all right actually on the opening day as well, didn't they? Against Sunderland, they did the first half, especially. They played. That would surprise me with how
up until Izzy Atkinson's goal, they probably were the better side, but then we scored and their heads just dropped. Well, there we are. Just a quick one on West Ham. A couple of comments here. All my days, there was so much troubles in that team. They have three of the best forwards in the league in a dead midfield and back line. I can't defend with one of them. At the start of the season, I wasn't thinking West Ham would be trouble, but now I'm concerned for them. They seem to have no rhythm, no cohesion.
Did anyone hear Tony's review in Rose's voice?
Yeah, probably.
That's a very Rosy game. Oh my days. They are shit.
There's a big issue with the relegation thing, isn't there, as well this season, with it being the playoff, that teams can drift a little bit. And you get teams that just don't turn up for a lot of weeks in a row.
Yeah, especially when you're thinking if you're third off bottom and comfortable, you're going to think, well, who we're going to be playing from WSL2, sorry, on the championship. But it makes it interesting though. It definitely makes it interesting. And on the league, so after 3 games, I'd like to congratulate Chelsea on winning the league. I mean, Chelsea at top. Manchester United.
Bompastor out.
Yeah, Bompastor out. All this winning. All this winning is really boring. All this winning.
Yeah, absolutely. United and Arsenal then on 7, City, Spurs on 6. Spurs on, who were 5th in the league with a -1 goal difference. Obviously, the damage was done on Saturday. Yeah. And Brighton, as we mentioned before, are in capitals now, so that's good. Everton, even though we've mentioned before, 2 defeats in a row, still there, 7th. Leicester and London just behind. Then Villa, then Liverpool. Obviously, Liverpool didn't play on Saturday, obviously due to the death of Matt Beard. So they're still there on 0. And West Ham, who we mentioned before, are bottom of the league. -8 goal difference. That is looking a bit dire already. All my days, should we say. But shall we get on to the best football league in the entire world? And that is the Championship. Because again, I'm just not even going to get into it. But as Danny mentioned before, he had a lovely Friday night watching football. I had an excellent Friday night, I must admit. And it was an excellent game of football. I thought Sunderland, to be honest, after the first 10 minutes, when Durham probably should be 1-0 up, and a player who I've got a lot of time for, I admire a lot, in Poppy Pritchard, who got played through one-on-one with our goalkeeper, and she just hesitated a little bit too much, and it allowed Hannah Greenwood to get back in and make a very, very good tackle. Really, really good tackle from Hannah, and she was an absolute rock at the back for us. But after that, we kind of dominated, but without scoring. Actually, without creating many chances. Cat Shepherd had to tip a free kick over the bar, but apart from that, there wasn't much. It was a good full-blooded derby, though. It was excellent. And then in the second half, we eventually were knocking on the door, and eventually Tash Fenton puts a lovely cross over to Jamie Finn, who heads it back across, and Emily Scarr puts in for a 3rd goal of the season. She scored in every game so far, so that's class for Scarzy. And to be fair with Scarzy, she goes on these runs where she does score her goals in gluts. So it's good to see that she's getting them at the start of the season this time, over the moon for her. And then with 5 minutes to go, we make it 2-0 with a thunder bastard from Katie Kitchen. I can only call her that. The fact that she won the ball from our half, just kept running and running, and she's going to hit. And the problem is now with Katie, you kind of expect her to score them ones, even though they are probably the hardest things to do. But it flew into the top corner. That was game, set, and match, and Durham pulled one back with, I think the goal was credited to Beth Heppel, but I think it might have been an own goal. But corner came in, we didn't defend it, hit somebody, it went in. Durham kind of huffed and puffed in the last little bit of stoppage time. Poppy Pritchard hit the post, but it was, to be honest, I thought it was quite comfortable. I thought 2-1 was probably a fair result because we just didn't create that much. But it's 7 points from a possible 9. And I think we've not had the easiest of starts, obviously, with Sheffield getting a good win down there, but then also drawing with Birmingham at home. But then obviously in a derby game, anything can happen. And it's now 6 wins in a row now for Sunderland over Durham in the league. So that's good.
I don't think that Birmingham result's a decent result. I think you look at that at the end of the season, you'll think that's a decent result because Birmingham are going to be.
Yeah, that's especially when obviously you look at Sunday's result and they've played Newcastle. And obviously this is the kind of first versus second that everyone in the league's kind of predicting that what's going to happen. I just don't see it. I don't think. And again, this might be me being biased, and it probably is, but I just don't think Newcastle have strengthened as well as what I kind of thought they would do. I was expecting, obviously, they brought Jordan Nobbs in, which lasted a half on Sunday. But I don't see where Newcastle are going to get the majority of their goals from, apart from Shania. So it was on the bench again, I think. So, but Birmingham started the season really well. That's their 10th goal of the season already. But obviously Newcastle made a change in dropping Claudia Moen and putting in Elastola got in on loan from Chelsea. But I mean, some of the goals are considered were dreadful. I mean, really, really poor. And again, as Paul mentioned before, this playing out from the back. I mean, they got caught out a couple of times, and Birmingham, to be fair, took full advantage. Lily Crossway getting another goal for them. Another local girl from up here. She's really good player from Durham. I just don't see it with Newcastle. They might prove me massively wrong as Durham just did there in the penalty shootout, but I just don't see it. I think out of what I've seen so far, I think we're probably the best side in the North East in the minute. And then, to be honest, I would probably put Durham as second and Newcastle bringing up the rear. But it can all change, can't it? Danny, you wanted to mention Forest and Palace, didn't you? So we'll go to them because Charlton and Ipswich finished 0-0, and we all know what we don't do on this podcast.
Don't talk about nils. Yeah. No, I've been wanting to follow Palace again because obviously come down, new manager in charge again, and trying to get back up there and trying to compete with Birmingham. And they've not quite been on that level so far, but this was their first win. I think it was always going to be an interesting game against the Forest team that have made a few good signings over the summer. But we've been watching them, haven't we, to get signing after signing through the door. I think Palace were pretty dominant in this one. Had Alison Swaby back, Molly May Sharp was back, and one of our pod favourites, Elise Hughes, back for first start since April 2024. So amazing to see her back in the fray from the start again. It's been a long time, so she's going to make all the difference, I think, up front for Palace again and to get them back up again. And hopefully she gets a chance to get them up and to really have a run at the WSL again, whether it's with Palace or whether it's not, I'm not sure. But great to see her back in again. I think she might have contributed tonight as well. I don't know if she scored or assisted tonight in the old sub cup as well.
Would you like me to find out?
Yes, please, while I'm chatting. But it was Justine Van Havermaet with the first goal, a loopy loop over the keeper from the left hand side. Kirsty Howard got the second. Ashley Weirden, I think, is going to be some player in the WSL2. I think she's been outstanding so far. Again, here she had a shot that looked like it was going to run out for a corner, but Howard didn't give up on it, snuck it in to make it 2-0. Annabelle Blanchard set up huge for a chance, but she hit the post. They had Wesha Littlejohn coming on for her debut in the 90th minute, and then Forest kind of clicked into gear a bit. They got the goal from Boyd Lorca from distance. From then, they looked like they might get a second one because this was in the 93rd minute, I think, the goal, and then they did threaten with a little bit of a scramble late on. We all love to see a scramble, don't we? We're talking about tippy tappy earlier. We love a goalmouth scramble. So Palace would have been devastated, I think, to give away a 2-0 lead in stoppage time, but didn't quite get there. Joe Potter after the game saying it was a bit gutting not to keep the clean sheet, showing her mentality a little bit. but looked a lot better defensively because they had that 8-goal thriller, the ding-dong 4-4 last week against Southampton. So she was all focused on getting that clean sheet. So gutted not to get it, but at the same time, really, really positive to come away with the 3 points. But yeah, Palace, important, I think, to get that first win, especially after being relegated, isn't it? To get that first win off your back and to go to a place like the City Ground as well. I think they perform really well. So they'll hopefully kick on a bit now and make it that exciting league that we all know it's going to be this season. I think already looking at it, you think there's the teams you expect to be at the top of there, but then there's the teams at the bottom aren't performing too badly either. Ipswich have made a good go at it. They've only got a point so far, but they're putting in the effort. The likes of Sheffield United, I think, are a little bit better than we all expected them to be. Portsmouth are doing all right. They've got a win under the belt. It's all looking like it's a great league. It's so good. Yeah, so I'm glad
it's just going to be ding dong every week.
It's so good with that third place as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's
it's early in the season. Admittedly, it's only 3 games, but that's still a sixth of the way through the season. We're 2 weekends away from being a quarter of the way through the season because of the lack of games.
Yeah,
and we've got 4 points between first and 10th. Literally 4 points between promotion and potential relegation. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
that's great.
And
we've got a full complement of teams as well now. We haven't got 11 teams this year.
And there's some massive games this weekend as well. Like Sunderland have got Southampton away, which obviously it's going to be a change no matter what. If Sunderland managed to get even a point, that'd be brilliant. But I think Durham have got Palace, and that's like for some reason, it's just a huge rivalry between the cannot stand each other. So that'll be if anyone in the Northeast are at a loss this Sunday, go and watch Palace versus Durham. Because
isn't that where the whole Dirty Durham?
That's where it's all from. The whole Dirty Durham moniker is from Crystal Palace fans. Due to the fact that a couple of years ago, I think Palace were at Durham and there was just a lot of hoo-ha and the fans got involved with the coach. I think Durham's coach had a pop at the Palace fans and there was just all sorts of hell on in that game. That place had to be pulled apart and all sorts. And then obviously Palace went and didn't they beat them 9-1 a couple of years ago when they got promoted? Or 9-0, It was something along those. It might be 9-1. I think probably Pritchard scored for Durham. But yeah, there was there's just it just stems from it. So it's going to be a tremendous game. So like I say, if you are at a loss, get yourselves down and watch Durham versus Crystal Palace. Spenny Chris isn't good. He's going to watch Spenny Ladies versus Thorny, which will be a blood and thunder game because Thorny women have got some very, very big units playing for them, to be fair. Watched them a few years ago against Sunderland's FPL, Sunderland's PGA team. Oh, my word, they were taller than me. They were absolutely monstrous.
I'll tell you what, there's also the Great Pretender game. Graham's not in the chat tonight, so I can get away with this without him shouting at me. But there's the Flatter to Deceive derby between Newcastle and Charlton. As well,
there is, yes, which will
be an interesting one because 2 teams with ambition to prove how good they are, and
then we've got Charlton the week after. We've got Charlton at the Stadium of Light on the 4th of October. So
it's every weekend. This is the thing about this league, isn't it? Every weekend there's at least 2 games that are going to be properly incredible games. It's the place to be. And then at the end of the season, someone will be like, "Oh, I should watch the Championship again next season."
Who is the Championship? There'll be articles. What is the WSL?
What is the Championship? Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, Palace have equalised. There we go. Just on Elise Hughes watch because I do want to bring Paul at this actually because I totally agree with what you said about her being fit now, and she did get an assist tonight. That is huge for Palace, isn't it? Because obviously, the year in the WSL last year, I think it was a bit marred that Elise Hughes got injured before a ball was kicked. And, the fact she's missed over a year, her coming back, if she can, hit the ground running, it gives them a huge opportunity, especially with Whelan playing for them as well.
I mean, like you say, Palace have now got Elise Hughes, they've got Weirden, at some Kang money going in there if it's been correct. But no, they've got Weirden, they've got Elise Hughes, they've got Annabelle Blanchard, who Grace Clinton is Annabelle Blanchard bought on Temu. There you go. That's so. It does. I know I rant about this every week, and Danny has talked about it in the past. We've all talked about Annabelle Blanchard, but it genuinely baffles me when you look at Annabelle Blanchard play every single week that somehow nobody has noticed this.
Yeah, it was mad how like she got released until she left and then has gone back because no one took a chance on her. Like for me, she'd be WSL all day long.
Yeah, if you're, I was worried she was going to go to London City. To be honest, I thought London City were going to have her to be.
Yeah. Just very quickly, Smitty Chris got it wrong. It's not 2-2. It's still 2-1.
Yeah, no, I was just looking for it. I don't think that's been a goal. No.
I was gonna say, yeah, I was refreshing my live score. I was like, "You're wrong."
Desmond denied.
But also,
Leicester kicked into gear, by the way, against Ipswich 5-1 now.
But also, Ipswich getting a point against Charlton. You were talking about Ipswich pulling points up. That is a huge point for Ipswich.
Yeah,
you'd never have expected that based on pedigree, if you like. You'd have been like, "That's a Charlton home win all day." So
it's always been like Charlton are always better away from home, aren't they? It's like, I don't know, like a couple of years ago when Palace went up, Charlton were unbeaten at home. Unbeaten away from home all season, but only won twice at home, I think it was. Like, it was crazy.
We don't talk about anyone else.
One of those two wins was against Coventry United to have them go down.
Oh, was it?
Oh, no.
But we're speaking about obviously the big hitters, every week. Not this Sunday, but next Sunday. Sheffield United versus Ipswich. I mean, that's already a huge 6-pointer, isn't it? Like down there. And you mentioned Ipswich. I know, like as we said, the 0-0 are normally off, but that is a good point. And if they can back that up, even if they can get a point, they're at home to they're home to Portsmouth this week, and then Sheffield United next week. So you look at if they get 4 points there, winning a draw, that'd be huge for them.
Yeah, and that getting a point at a place like Charlton as well is going to be huge for them. So to carry into those two games, it's exciting. Or both ends of the table are so exciting.
It is. You're right. And the last game, and this is, I just don't get Southampton at all. Like they've got on a good start. They've got a good win against Portsmouth. I think like a lot of people thought, it's going to be different this season. We're playing more attacking football and this, that, and the other. Get a 4-4 draw at Palace. And all right, okay, you're probably right. And then they lose at home to Bristol. I know Bristol are a great side. Lexi Lloyd-Smith getting the goal as well. I love Lexi Lloyd-Smith. But you just for Southampton, you're like, when is the time? When is their season where they are going to make a huge go of it? And I don't see it coming,
No, too inconsistent, aren't they, I think?
Yeah, they just can't. They just can't get going. Also, looking in the group chat, our Chloe, the Everton fan, is currently losing her mind because Courtney Brosnan, Everton's goalie, is apparently in a full knee brace that isn't even allowing her knee to bend. Like it's one of those proper immobilizing of the knee things.
Oh, really?
Which
that's
could
like
be
an
huge,
ACL, then, isn't it? That's an ACL, then, isn't it? Or at the very least,
a ligament of some description. Yeah, it's definitely a long-term injury.
Yeah. Just putting that comment there about the Bristol game. Vera Jones is a workhorse and a beast in midfielder, and I am looking forward to seeing her play next season when she comes back from loan. That's a great name for a young lass, isn't it? Vera.
Yeah. Vera Jones.
You get them though.
She should be singing show tunes, or not show tunes, or war tunes somewhere.
There is a few of them though. Like there's a lot of Marys in football, isn't there now? Like Mary McAteer and Mary Corbin and that. And,
oh wait, Vera
Jones.
Vera Jones's middle name is Josephine as well.
Is it really?
Wow.
That's a great name.
That's a name with an average age of about 65, isn't it?
Come on, Vera.
I mean, I'm just waiting because it was Nora Jones who was the pop star. So
she was, yes.
That's what it makes me think of.
Yeah, and there's obviously Aggie Beaver Jones as well, isn't there? So Aggie, that's a grandma's name, isn't it?
So that's Agnes, isn't it? I think, yeah.
Agnes, yeah. Just quickly on Paul, I'll let you talk about Newcastle as well because I know you like to rub it in just as much as me, but you are not biased because you're from Coventry. But that on there, again, another it is. I was watching that as well. Chelsea Lawns, Newcastle has problems, a lot of problems. Now, I mentioned this on the preview show that I didn't agree that Newcastle released. I mean, they released like 12 players, but a lot of them were local, and 2 of them were playing on Friday night. There was Amber Stobbs and Hannah Greenwood. Hannah Greenwood, I said, was our player of the match, was absolutely outstanding. And you see them, getting rid of 2 good, solid defenders and also local players, but then bringing these players in who haven't hit the ground running yet and conceding really, really sloppy goals and stuff. As much as I said about Claudia Mon, I don't think Claudia Mon has done much wrong since she's gone to Newcastle, but it seems to be that Claudia's kind of got that unfortunate thing of she's not very good because she's a Sunderland supporter. So I'm not sure, but what do you think's going on there? Do you think we might see a managerial change?
I think the hot seat's got to be there for Becky Langley, hasn't it? Apart from anything else, if you just look at their squad, it might as well be a lower end WSL squad already, because you've got Anna Tamminen, they signed from Hammarby, who's a Finnish international. Charlotte Wardlaw, who's been on the cusp of WSL for ages. She was Chelsea loan for a while and Scottish international. Demi Stokes, we know about. Jordan Nobbs, we know about. Gemma Perfield's an experienced WSL defender. Alicia Body is, an up-and-coming talent. You've got Morgan Goldratt, who everybody lost their minds over when she came over. Emma Kelly, ex of Sunderland. Shania Hales, who's a WSL striker. Molly Pike, who can play WSL. Freya Gregory. Deanna. These are all WSL names and internationals as you go down the squad. And, Una Savenius, for example, who they brought in, who played at the Euros. Aoife Mannion from Man United. Georgia Fox from Chelsea. Emily Murphy, who's Irish international. And you look at them and go, it's almost as if this is a squad that you look at and go, this should be way too good. Hello, Aladdin Zach, by the way, in the chat. Lovely to see you turning up.
We are having a spectacular day, Zach, by the way. That's such a lovely thing to say. I hope everyone's having a spectacular day. I've had a spectacular day anyway, so there we are.
A spectacular time, because you look at the scores and you can see most of us have had a spectacular, because what we're not liking Newcastle. Anytime I get to rip into Sports Wash FC is always fun. But yeah, and I think there is a problem with Newcastle where they've still just said to Becky Langley, right, if we look on EA FC and go, these players will probably be rated over 70, 75. So we'll sign all of them. It's like when you sign the players for the Championship and just sign a bunch of lower end Premier League players. And I think that Becky Langley will be the next casualty, but I don't think she's the problem.
I don't think they're clever enough. Don't clip that.
to be honest, at the moment, if you want a Shania Twain song about Newcastle, that don't impress me much.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I was just put there. Wrexham have signed some players from Newcastle. They've got Katie Barker, haven't they? I know they signed Katie Barker. I don't know who else they'd signed, but she's a good striker. I like her. But another local who they let go. And I just think they've lost their identity. And I said this in the preview thing. Like, there's, fair enough. You have to make releases. You have to make, you have to kind of, make these tough decisions, and they are tough. But I don't think you should do it all at once. Like, Sunderland a couple of years ago, obviously we Claudia Moore decided to leave, and we brought Demi Lamborn. It didn't quite work. We've also released Grace Eade, who's a Sunderland support, and I disagree with that, because I think you just lose the identity when you haven't got local players in. But we've still kept a lot of local players in, and we've obviously signed Hannah Greenwood, who's played for all 3 of the North East big guns. She's a Durham lass. Then she went Newcastle, come to Sunderland now, gets what the North East is all about, gets what the kind of goldfish bowl of what the North East football is. Because it was always a case where they moved from club to another. But then the players who are coming in for Newcastle now, yes, they're going to be getting paid a lot of money. but it isn't kind of showing on the pitch. And I also think that them moving to Gateshead is a very poor decision. I don't know who made that one, but I think that's a really silly decision because you lose a lot of atmosphere from where Kingston Park was, because Kingston Park was quite quite a closed stadium, whereas the Gateshead International Stadium is a running track, it's an athletic ground, and very, very open, and it's hard to generate atmosphere there. So I think they've made a few bad decisions off the field as well.
And also Newcastle as well. Admittedly, it wasn't football, but it was a Newcastle team's ground as well. So you probably had with Newcastle rugby, you probably had all the same, atmosphere and iconography of war lads, war lasses, all that sort of stuff. Whereas Gateshead is just a running track.
And it isn't even in Newcastle. It's in Gateshead.
it's in the northeast, but it's not. They make a big thing of we are Newcastle and we're in the city centre and all that sort of stuff, and they make the big thing with St James's Park. If Newcastle was serious about their women's team, as they like to run around and claim to be, they'd have played every game at St James's Park.
Yeah,
in the way that most of the teams in the WSL have, because I can understand why Sunderland don't play every game at the Stadium of Light, and it sounds like I'm being biased to make an excuse, but I can understand it because, if I'm right, the players and people themselves say they like playing at Eppleton and they think it gives them a home advantage anyway.
Yeah, which was proven on Friday night when we played Birmingham at the Stadium of Light. The atmosphere was good, but there was only, I think it was 700 there. I think 500 or 700. But there was nearly 1,000 down Friday night. And obviously a lot of them were from Durham as well. But the atmosphere was amazing. Absolutely amazing. As Chris has put here, I know Newcastle Falcons have just been taken over. Did they have a chance to see or not? I think they made a decision. I think Newcastle made a decision that they wanted to play it. I've got a feeling it's because they wanted to play it on grass, because I think the Falcons ground is 4G. I want to say, or it's artificial or something, and they wanted to play on grass to improve the way they played or something.
Well, I think the thing that really fascinates me as well with that Northeast thing is presumably Newcastle are going to want to play their leg of Tyne and Wear derby at St James's Park.
And it can't be played anywhere else. It's like both of those games will be at the stadiums, because just for safety from one end and the fact that last year, obviously, the championship record went at both grounds. Obviously, we broke it, and then Newcastle, to be fair, I mean, there was like nearly 40,000 fans. That was an amazing atmosphere, and it was brilliant. You know what I mean? Brilliant for women's football. So they'll both be there again this year, definitely.
You say from safety, because people like to say rivalry in the women's game, even in the big derbies, isn't quite there. Presumably, none of them have ever been to Newcastle versus Sunderland.
Well, yeah, probably. I mean, Sunderland's biggest. I've said this on numerous occasions, because Newcastle have only just decided to care about the women's team since the oil money came in. We haven't had the chance to develop that rivalry with Newcastle yet, because we only played them twice in the league, and that was last season. We've played Durham so many times now that Durham is our biggest rivals, I would say. And
people
expect it.
As someone from outside the Northeast, I look at it and go, right, Tyne Wear derby at Sunderland Newcastle, and that's just going to be a thing. But it's interesting you say that we still have to develop. And it hasn't really developed in the women's game between Sunderland and Newcastle. It's not just automatically there.
No, like I say, because Newcastle were up until 4 years ago 2-3 divisions below Sunderland. We've never had that. We've only ever played each other in pre-season friendlies and stuff, and obviously, as I mentioned before, there is kind of a goldfish bowl in Northeast football. A lot of the players know each other, a lot of players go out together and everything like that. And that rivalry just hasn't developed yet. Whereas the Sunderland Durham one has always been a blood and thunder game. Great tackles flying in, this, that, and the other. And both games last year against Newcastle, I didn't see that. I didn't think we played well in them at all, to be honest. But there wasn't that fire, and there wasn't even that. The atmosphere in both games were brilliant. Don't get us wrong, but it just needs that time just to develop a little bit. It needs big red card or a big flare up or something, or it just needs something to really get our rivalry back into the women's side of things, I think.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. But you like you say, you look at all those games in the championship, and I find it a lot harder to care about the WSL, like when it's actually on. In terms of, like, we're not talking about WSL games coming up and going, oh, there's a great game every week, are we?
Yeah.
We're not having the level of animation that Danny was having, talking about, when you talk about the championship every week, you can pick up a game and go, that's a huge one, that's a 6-pointer. And it's like, that's the difference of the championship. And like the coverage, apparently, that they've put on YouTube, they've been getting graphics wrong and all sorts still.
Yeah. It's not been great. And the commentary hasn't been good at all. I don't think.
Didn't the Liverpool badge come up in the Everton game the other day?
Yeah.
I think that they flashed the Liverpool badge up, didn't they, as well? So it's happening everywhere.
Yeah. I think
maybe.
Go on, sorry.
I was going to say, maybe now Sonia Bonpastor's job's on the line. Maybe it'll get more interesting.
Becky Langley might get it.
Sky Sports hourly update. Sonia Bonpastor under pressure.
Yeah. Hold on, is that managerial vacancy?
Yeah, I mean that's a fair point of it. Tony Montana's put on a bigger skill and women's skill is equivalent to Barca, Atleti, Barca, Real Madrid, which is a really good point. The Barca Real one, but it's like Man United and Liverpool, isn't it? Man United's biggest rivalries in football in Liverpool when it should be Man City. Sit centre with Liverpool Everton. Liverpool Everton's a friendly derby, isn't it? Because Liverpool's big derby Man United, and the Brighton and Crystal Palace one, which is they're nowhere near each other, but it's a derby game. So, I always think Northampton versus Southampton should be one as well. The Hampton derby.
I mean, I talk about derbies. We had Cov Leicester at the weekend. That's a fucking derby.
Yeah, that's a big. Yeah.
That is
I think it's weird that when teams are in the same city, like Liverpool and Everton have, and they've got that shared history between each other and between families and some of the stuff that they've gone through together. It's kind of makes it a little bit harder to be an intenser rivalry, I guess, when you've got that bit of a bond in the same city.
Yeah.
But maybe a place like Sheffield, I'm guessing, is not the same like that. So I might be talking nonsense.
I mean,
no, I think you're right.
You say that, but you get a lot of human decency, you'd hope, tends to come out, because obviously with the shared history with Liverpool and Everton and all the tragedies that Liverpool have had, you see Everton have been the first team to step in and support their city members. And I think there were some of the rivalries where people will do it and they'll be whatever. But to use a local rival, there wasn't the same level of support from here in Coventry when Leicester had their helicopter crash and their chairman passed away and all that sort of stuff. It was, we send our condolences, and that was about it. And now, unfortunately, there have been chants about it, and there were signs the other way and all sorts of stuff. And it's just like, yeah. But this is the obligatory point where I point out the best thing ever to come out of Leicester is the M69. So, and if you wonder why, look where that goes on a map.
Just quickly, a couple of updates again from Spenny. Nottingham Forest 2, Newcastle 1 in the Subway Cup. So a bad week for Newcastle, and they've got Charlton on Sunday. So that's a big game for them already. Oh crap! There's a table.
Liverpool badge flashes up.
Yeah. And it's a way to watch WSL2 here in America. If you can get it on YouTube, then yes. If you're able to watch it on YouTube, I'm not sure if it's subscribed to US viewers, but it's normally on YouTube. There's like one game a week, isn't there? And then they have all the highlights. But then
I thought they had all of both games.
You can watch though a lot of the home. Like a lot of teams now have their own YouTube channels. All of Sunderland's home games are available on YouTube. So on Sunderland's YouTube channel, you can watch. There's no commentary, but all of our games are on.
The best, to be fair, as well.
I offer to do it, right? I would love to do it. I would love to do one game as a commentator, right? And I know it'll be really, really difficult, but I would be the most biased commentator in the world.
Especially when Sunderland score, you go running down the pitch.
Because obviously you've got How Away the Lasses podcast. If you had How Away the Lasses doing the commentary on them, so you had you and Charlotte, because Charlotte's obviously done it for BBC Newcastle.
She has, yeah. She's actually quite quite an experienced commentator now. To be fair,
so just the pair
I
of
would
you
love
doing
to do it.
Just How Away the Lasses on a YouTube stream or a Twitter space or something.
It could be done. It could be done. Just you mentioned running down the pitch and all that. If you have watched our highlights, I am on the telly. I say on the telly on the
most weeks
on the video again quite a lot on Friday night because I was wearing a bright yellow coat. So when we score our goals and. Charlotte had taken a fan cam thing when Katie Kitch got a second one. I could hear his name. Yeah. So, I'm just an absolute embarrassment to myself.
Second best goal cam after Sophie Whitehouse getting caught out letting in a goal last season. And shit. I think
but let's get on to currently on time with Derby. Do you know what?
Final word Derby, minutes. And we'll put you and that Adam Pearson on opposite sides of a table.
Good God, no!
First live murder on air.
If we're very high up, I think I probably wouldn't get out the stadium without being arrested. Bless him. The most biased commentator is Rachel Brown for this woman hits Chelsea with a fiery passion. Fair enough. But yeah, you're right. She is quite biased. But let's go to the table as we mentioned before. And what a lovely photo of Katie Kitchen there. Birmingham are top on goals difference and by 1 goal. So yeah, thanks to Newcastle for not getting another goal against them. Otherwise, we would have been joint top. But Birmingham, they lead the way on 7, and it's ourselves. Charlton, so 3-way tie already at the top of the league. Bristol City are there on 4th. Again with a -1 goal difference. So it's obviously they've got a hammering. Some point. Southampton, Palace make up the top 6. Palace are just slowly creeping their way into it now, so everyone be fearful because I think I actually think Palace will go up this year. Newcastle and Durham to northeast are lagging behind, so to speak. Then Nottingham Forest, Portsmouth, Sheffield United, and Ipswich. But as we said before, Ipswich play Portsmouth and Sheffield United with the next 2 games, both at home. So this league table is going to be changing every single week. It'll be unbelievable.
It's going to be a nightmare for poor Sam and Freya doing the graphics because it's just moving people around every single week.
Oh yeah. It literally. It's. I mean, if you're not in capitals now, you might be next week. You might be in gold in 2 weeks after. You might be in red next week. It's the best league in the world. Just some. EFL, another pointless cup we're talking about here is Huddersfield 0, City 2, Newcastle 4, Bradford 1. At least Bradford scored for Deep because Deep's there. I know she is, and at least she's got a goal. She has, bless her, she has gone up. And then Spurs 3, Doncaster 0. So no surprises again there in that one.
Apparently, men play football as well.
Apparently, not as good. Not as good.
But can I just ask, Chris? Can you please stop trying to, make men's football happen and shove it down our throats? Because this is obviously.
Yeah, there's a time and a place. It's tomorrow.
If people want to watch it, fair enough. But I don't want it shoved down my throat all the time. It feels like there's an agenda.
Yeah. And then Portfield, he's not listening. Portfield and Arsenal too later. Just very quickly, because we are going to talk about Matt Beard, so we're going to move things around a little bit. Obviously, this is us. We are the Absolute Football Podcast, best new content creator at the Football Content Awards, and this is the second show since we have been announced as finalists yet again in the FCAs. This time it takes place at Leeds, so it's only an hour's drive for me. I am absolutely over the moon, but thank you so much for everyone putting us up for that award. And can you please go and vote? You can go vote now on the FCA's website. We are up for best content creator and best in non-league. We didn't make the shortlist for the best in women creators this year. So I'm only blaming myself for hosting when Freya's not been here, because it can be the only reason why we're not nominated. But there's always next year.
I think there's probably quite a few of our late night chats are probably the reason why as well.
I was trying to be gently. I was trying to be like calm about it in the group chat, and then Freya goes, "Oh, looking at the red nominations for women football, we got absolutely bloody robbed." I'm like, okay, now she said it. Now we can agree. Oh, I'll leave it.
Howie Pod never got nominated. I never. To be honest, though, there was a reason why Howie Pod never got nominated. I didn't put us forward because I forgot. But yeah, good luck
again,
to you.
Again, like testament to all the incredible work that goes on behind the scenes. And I just rock up and chat every week. The amount of work that goes on behind the scenes from the likes of Shah and Sam to get us all together is testament to their work again, isn't it? It's fantastic.
Oh yeah, 100%. And obviously, since last year, obviously we've had Josh, who's no longer. I nearly said no longer with him. Sounds like he's died. But Sam's just stepped up massively. I mean, the man hosts, he graphics, he does everything. And obviously, and Charlotte as well, and Freya who hosts this one normally. Just the work that they do. You're right. Well, the lucky ones. We just get to come in here. In my case, is sometimes twice a week and just talk shit, to be honest. But the fact that a lot of work gets done, and the fact that we have been nominated again, it's just brilliant. So thank you all from the bottom of our hearts.
In the blurb, we were described as the model for fan media.
Yes, we were. It was so lovely, wasn't it?
In our full shows, it's like, so that's why you should go and vote for us.
That's why you should go and vote for us,
because we are the model.
Yes.
With our 4 shows and our inclusive community and all the other wonderful things that they said about
us. And you get free smileys or something or other, don't you, if you remember? So there we are. But we are the Absolute Football Podcast. We are on a Monday, which is the non-league show, which Shah hosts, which is an unbelievable show. And it's getting more and more listeners every single week. It's if you want non-league, and as I said, this is from an award-winning podcast now. You go and watch that. That's the only show you want to watch on a Monday night. I say that Howie Pod is on at the same time, but ours is a listening-only podcast, so there we are. And then on Tuesday, it's Sam with the Absolute Premier League show for all your Premier League needs, and obviously I'm on there relatively regularly now that I'm doing well. And then obviously ourselves on a Wednesday normally with Freya, but with the rest of the team, Chaos is a Wednesday night with your Absolute Women's Football show as we talk about the WSL and WSL2. And on a Thursday, Shah is back with the Rowdy Rabble. I think I'm not on tomorrow night, but that might change. So we'll see. We'll see. But with the rest of the guys down there, and it was a brilliant show last week where they did the mascot race. I thought it was absolutely hilarious. So get yourselves on that, and you can join us for exclusive behind-the-scenes episode and live chat benefits, where we do the Women in Football show on a Sunday, which has gone down so well. And we do, all about us, as in, meet your podcasters and whatever, and all about our clubs and stuff. And I think we've got one of them coming up soon. We've got interviews, club episodes, as I said, Women in Football, your smileys, everything. It's fantastic. And our socials are... I'll tell you what, I'll get you guys do your socials first, then we'll do our socials. So, Danny, where can we normally hear you?
So I'm at Danny Brothers on the Twitter, at Cobblers to Me for our Northampton Town podcast, Men and Women, a monthly women's show for the women's team there as well. So all that kind of stuff on Twitters, Instagram at Danny the Brothers. So.
And Paul, normally getting abuse, but where can we not?
You can normally find me very simply at Paul W Radio. I have mellowed and I have to behave more now because of my professional job and working and people following me, or I don't want, who would probably tell me off for shouting at certain football clubs. But I still make comments on there occasionally. It's just a little bit less controversial. I save that for here on a Wednesday night now.
And if you want to follow me, I am at Twitter and Blue Sky at @_Watson. It's nice and easy for that. And if you want to follow us, we are on Twitter. We are at Absolute Ball Pod. On YouTube, it is at Absolute Football Podcast. Twitch, Absolute Football Podcast. People still have Twitch. TikTok is Absolute Football Pod. Instagram, Absolute Football Podcast, with an underscore. Blue Sky at Absolute Football, and Facebook is the Absolute Football Podcast. We're not finished, but obviously the weekend was, such as I said before, with this podcast being such a somber thing, and the weekend we were so devastated to learn the very, very sad and horrific news. MySpace? No, we're not MySpace. That's 20 years ago. But we heard the really sad and horrific news about Matt Beard, who has unfortunately passed away over the weekend. And as we've said before, the amount of outpouring and players, and you're seeing like people like Farrell Williams crying her eyes out on telly, and just people who have just seemed to be, everyone in football seems to be touched by this news, and everyone who's met Matt, and as I said, I've met him a couple of times, and what a lovely person, what an absolute gentleman of football. It's just horrendous, isn't it? I mean, guys, obviously, I could talk about them all night, but from yourselves as well, it's just such a horrible loss to this game.
Yeah, and it's like that personal touch, isn't it, that people have been speaking about all week and all weekends that Matt had. It still feels just surreal and mad to be talking about him in the past tense. I've never met him, but I feel like I have, if that makes sense. I feel like he's the type of person which people speak so warmly of that you feel like you've met him, you know him so well. He's not just a football manager, was he? He was all the things that he did before, all of his achievements, the pioneer in the women's game, essentially, all of those achievements with Liverpool that he took them to titles and everything. But the thing that people are talking about mainly this week are his human qualities, what a human being he was. It's just such incredibly sad news. Like I said, everything that he did in football, but mainly the human being that he was. And we just have to send however much love we can to the family of Matt. And at this time, the footballing community has just been hit so hard by this news. I think we were all trying to seek solace in each other, weren't we, at the weekend, and trying to comprehend it. And I still don't think I'm quite there yet in actually realizing what's happening and realizing and processing all of this. And I think everybody needs that kind of outlet to be able to process this news. But just, yeah, horrendous news. And we're just with all of us in the community just still trying to sort of make sense of it. So yeah, just keep talking to each other, I'd say, as well, to process it and get through it, because it's not an easy thing to talk about. It's not an easy thing to be processing. But hopefully in some tiny little way we can help tonight and every week, and by talking about football. It's a weird thing, football, to be able to use as something to get over something like, they'll not get over, but to process something like this with, and genuinely, like, I think it goes without saying that if anybody is struggling, try and chat to someone, try and talk to someone about stuff that you're going through. And I've been in those dark places before myself, and to be able to have someone, all it takes is for someone to say hello, or to send a message to make you sort of realize how much you mean to people. And I can say on behalf of everybody at the pod as well, and on all of the pods that we do during the week, one comment that you put in here makes us feel like we're worth something. So I really hope you feel that as well, and you genuinely feel like we just turn up and talk football and talk nonsense. When we see these comments coming up, it's not just a little comment, it's the fact that you're connecting with us. And I want everybody in these chats, in all the chats this week, to know that you're worth it. You're worth everything because of what you're giving us. And I hope that continues to kind of be a part of this community. And like, the awards are great, everything's great at that, but we hope that this is a main reason why you stick around, because we can give you this safe space to come and talk about football, but talk about life and to have a laugh and stuff as well. So yeah, that's I'm hoping that eventually that's a legacy that the character that Matt was can come out of it. But I'll stop now because I'm going to stop.
Bless you, man. Beautiful words on that. Absolutely beautiful. And I think it's been like kind of something that everyone's kind of have said this, every like kind of broadcaster or footballer or anyone who's actually come into contact with Matt has said the same things. You know, like, you know, such a gentleman, such a, you know, a leader off the pitch. And the fact he took Liverpool to 2 consecutive WSLs and then got them back into the WSL, which for me, watching the Championship for listening on, is the best side I've ever seen in the Championship. His Liverpool side were unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. And even when, you know, he was at Burnley, and his tenure at Burnley didn't last too long, but he said he wanted to pursue other opportunities, and we're like, oh, which WSL sides picked him up, you know, because he was just a win everywhere we went. But every player I think who's come into contact with him, Paul, have said the same thing, that he made me feel like a million, you know, he made me feel like a footballer. You know, the fact he was, you know, I think he had like 2 jobs when he was at Chelsea. He was like a real estate agent and stuff. The fact he was kind of doing all that stuff and making them above and beyond. And I think that's kind of the best thing you can kind of give to someone like that. That he's probably looked after, you know, these players probably better than he's looked after himself. But the fact he's made these players feel like $1 million and given them this opportunity, for me, the women's game has lost a massive pioneer, to be honest.
It has. And I again only came into any sort of contact with Matt Beard once when Liverpool played Coventry United. And I remember not interviewing him personally, but listening to him talk, because he had to race off, but listening to him talk and just being in his presence and seeing the way he interacted with people was like being in a ray of sunshine, because he just, you know, you'd see the effect he'd have on people, because people have talked about it, and I saw it the way when he saw people he know, and he'd just always, all right, darling, and, you know, just the proper warmth with which he greeted. And, you know, you point out about people saying he made you feel like $1 million. You can see it in him. And for me, the biggest thing about him that struck me the most, because obviously we've sung his praises here on the pod loads while he was managing Liverpool and said, you know, he was a great manager. The way he always stood up for his players, and the way he particularly knew that he was risking, you know, fines or disciplinary sanctions or whatever else, but made the point, listen, Liv Smith's going to get hurt. You need to protect her. My player is getting kicked around and I want something done about it. Like, just the sheer ferocity with which he stood up for his players, and the way he was always so straight talking in interviews and always so ready to give credit to the opposition, but also ready to take, you know, responsibility for the players' welfare. And look, tonight, actually, in my other job, working at the BBC, I had Rhiannon Cleverly, who plays for Rugby Borough Women. She was doing an interview, and she was asked about the Matt Beard, and she said some lovely words. Hopefully the interview will be online somewhere. But the point that she made that really stuck with me, and the point that I took from her and I'm going to make here, is obviously this has happened practically to the anniversary of Maddie Cusack taking her own life. We don't know how Matt Beard has passed away. We're not going to speculate or say anything either way, but there are indications online that it may be the case. And she made the point that this again shows how important it is in women's football in particular to protect people's mental health and to provide the support structures for players and managers. And Matt did that for his players all the time. You can see, you know, Liv Smith has talked about it. All the players who played under him have talked about it. And it's just tragic in Suicide Prevention Week as well that Matt Beard has passed away, and women's football has lost such a titan of the game, who's done so much. And obviously we've all got our own tributes in the topical tags, but I'll echo what Danny says. You know, as 3 men here, we know about male mental health and the struggles and the pressures on men, and that's presumably only magnified in a strong situation. And just from something like this, know that you can talk to people. And obviously, I'm sure I speak for everybody when I say our inboxes are open and the chat here is open. But I just hope that what comes from this is this feels like losing a friend you've never met.
Yeah.
For everyone who watches women's football, because of his presence and because of the way he interacted with people, and when he was doing interviews and stuff, you just could see the humanity shining off it. And it's just such a horrific loss, and it's just so tragic. And obviously, all our condolences and everything, but just all people.
On like a little bit of what you said there as well, like of being a man in the women's game. We've heard so many awful stories about men in the women's game over the last few years, haven't we? And Matt was the absolute opposite of all of that, and the beacon of what to be like and how to be a man in the women's game. And I'm hoping that will be his legacy. But he shouldn't have to be they shouldn't have to be the opposite of something. But then unfortunately there is awful and dark stories going on with that kind of thing. But you just hope, and I'm sure it will be, that his legacy will be the human being that he is and was, will just be passed on through generations.
Yeah, definitely. And as Paul just kind of said, it's the heart. I mean, all of it is heartbreaking, but the fact it happened the same weekend as Maddie's anniversary, and Maddie's another one who, again, in the women's game, no one could say a bad word about her. She's such a wonderful person, and Matt as well. Like I say, it's absolutely awful. And I think it's poignant tonight that there's three lads who are talking about. We're on a women's football podcast. There's three lads who are talking about this game, and I think it goes to show that we are. And I think people like Matt Bean have made it okay for men to talk about women's football or to enjoy the game, because it's always, we've all had the odd thing where you're just doing it because you fancy them and all this palaver, and the fact that all three of us have tried to build, try to give notoriety to the women's game and everything like that, and through what we do with our podcasts, this one and in others that we have done. Obviously, Paul, who commentated on the game for a long time, and in this, I think this is what the most heartbreaking thing about it is, as Paul just said, it is basically like, I honestly feel like I've lost a friend this week, and I say I've met the bloke twice. But when the news came through, it was like Saturday night, I literally had to take a step back. I literally got it was literally a shocking bit of news, and I was just I didn't know what to do. I went numb and all that stuff. And I think you have both mentioned, and I think it's very, very important to clarify that anyone in this chat who does feel strong, whether you're a man or a woman or whatever, please talk, please get help, please try and help yourself, but please speak to somebody, and as Danny said before, I mean, I've had to have a break off these podcasts for the last few weeks because I didn't feel like showing my face on social media. I've had a horrible month, but I've came back on tonight because I wanted to pay tribute and I wanted to talk with my mates about football. You know what I mean? So it's such a horrible thing, but I just hope that we all learn something from this. That just because you are in a dark place, and it can get better, and it does get better. But please just reach out, please talk. My inbox is open. I'm sure I speak for everyone on the podcast. No matter who you're close to, or if you talk, if you've got your favorite podcast or whatever, just give us a message or give the page a message, and we will get back to you. This podcast, as we've said before, is a massive labor of love. We do this for you guys. We don't do it for ourselves. We don't do it for. Sometimes we do it for ourselves. It's therapy for me. You know what I mean? I get to talk nonsense. You know what I mean? But like I say, if you are, just please either pick up the phone, call Samaritans, call Mind, or there's loads of charities out there that will help you. And I just hope that if you are struggling, you find your peace, and you find the help that you need. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to hopefully get this through without breaking down, because I honestly thought the ideal way to pay a tribute to Matt was to obviously the man's a Liverpool legend. So we're going to finish off by just basically saying that When you walk through a storm, hold your head up high and don't be afraid of the dark. At the end of a storm, there's a golden sky and the sweet silver song of a lark. Walk on through the wind, walk on through the rain, though your dreams be tossed and blown. Walk on with hope in your heart, and you'll never walk alone. You'll never walk alone. Rest in peace, Matt. Good night, everyone.